Welcome to So Very Wrong About Games. Today we have an unboxing, an overview, and a review. If you like what you see, wait to the end. We have some links to our podcast. Here we go. All right, let's cut this open and we'll see what we got. Oh, there's a pull tie. There it is. I thought so. Usually FedEx is something like that. Ruins from CGE. It comes with the bags and a score pad. And these are some funky tone counters. I like these. These look like they're pretty cool. Maybe I'll shade these as well. And then these are the arrowheads and the gems. And then it is a deck builder, so tons of cards. So worker placement deck builder. Let's see how this goes. Alright, so these are the equipment cards, and then the bluer ones are the artifact cards. And this has a really cool mechanic on how you choose which ones you're doing. And these are the actual player ones that you start with. Red, blue, green, yellow. And then the fear cards. These are the things that bloat your deck up. More on all this later. The archaeologists, so the workers, score markers, and the magnifying glasses and other things are there. There's supposed to be a sticker sheet in here, like old school, apply your own stickers. Rule book. This is like a super big rule book. Look at the size of these pages. That's kind of neat. Here's the stickers I was talking about. Throw those on. Board. So it is double-sided. The different places now, player aids. So these are all the guardians that you get to find, like when you start a new action space where you put your workers, you put a guardian in that you have to fight, or you don't have to fight, but you can fight to get more points. And then these are like the new action spaces that you can find. So you'll be placing these on the board. And these are the helpers that you're going to get that will give you extra actions. Tomes. This is like a little sideboard where you're going to put all of the extra stuff. And these are your player boards. An interesting system with the idols on that. Do you have anything else in here? I think it's just mostly all tokens. The solo player tokens, coins and gems, compass tokens, more solo pieces, and all the coins that you need to play. And those are all the pieces for the Ruins of Arnak. So in Arnak, you're going to be racing up the discovery track in the most profitable and best way you can, because if you don't get to the top, your opponent will. And to do this, you're going to be using worker placement and deck building while you adventure through the lost ruins of Arnak.
Calm down, Walker. It's a pretty generic Euro game and you're not being paid by the word.
Alright, so on your turn, you're going to perform a main action and as many free actions as you like. So some main actions are using your workers. One, you can place a worker on an already existing site and pay the travel cost and get some resources. Or you can make a new site where you're going to get different kinds of resources, and this means you have to explore it. So you have to pay some more resources, but you're going to do this because not only do you get to activate that site already, it also spawns a guardian, and it also lets you take these idols, and you put these idols on your tableau, and you can use the little activate an idol thing here, and this lets you get resources like at a crucial time during the game, or you can not use them and get more victory points. So you pay the resources, you flip up a random site, you get to activate the site as well, so you clear those resources. Another reason to put out a worker is if there's a guardian already out there and you want to go defeat that guardian, so you'll play the travel cost and go there, and then on a future turn you defeat that guardian. You'll pay whatever resources it says on that guardian, and then you take it into your play area as well. It's worth 5 points at the end of the game, and also gives you like a minor Benny that you can use at any time. Anything from like burning cards out of your deck or free travel payment, stuff like that. So another thing you can do on your turn, and it doesn't require a worker, is buying cards. So you can buy items, they cost gold, they go on the bottom of your deck as soon as you buy them, or you can buy an artifact, they cost compasses, and you get to activate it immediately for free, because usually when it comes up later in the game, you have to pay a tablet to activate it, and then after you do what the artifact says, it goes into your play area and will be in your deck. It'll be shuffled into the bottom of your deck for the next turn. So another action you can do that doesn't require a worker is move up this research track. So you maneuver your way up the research track and you pay the resources it needs to move up whatever step you're moving up. As you move your magnifying glass up, you're getting these tokens, and they're very minor resource benefits. And every level also has a benefit depending on if you're moving up your magnifying glass or your notebook. So the magnifying glass, you want to get to the top because it's worth huge points at the end of the game. Your notebook you want to move up because it gets you these assistants, which are fairly key and powerful free actions that you get every turn. It's just sort of like you put them on your tableau and you tap them and use them, and they refresh every round. And there's all sorts of little tokens on the board that lets you untap them and use them again. And some of them are fairly powerful actions. All right, so once everyone has used up all their cards and the resources and have tapped out all their assistants, and then they've all passed, that's the end of the round. And so what you do at the end of the round, you simply take all the cards that are in your play area, you shuffle them, and you put them on the bottom of your deck, and you draw 5 more cards for the next round. You're going to destroy the 2 cards that are on either side of the moon staff, and then the moon staff slides down, and then you refill the 2 artifacts. And then you're ready for the next turn. So then once you've done that for 5 rounds, then you go into final scoring. So this is Arnak, Ruins of. And then, like I said, in this game, you're going to be using your 2 workers or your deck to, gather these resources to race up this track. Because if you get to the top of the track, that's where the big points are. And if you get there early enough, then you can start hitting these tokens as well, which is going to get you even more points.
So it's a fairly basic resource conversion Euro, where the nominal hook is that you're simultaneously doing deck building and worker placement. And for the most part, it's very smooth, very enjoyable, relatively quick, relatively straightforward. The costing elements of the research track are pretty well done. You tend to get pretty specific in their requirements, but not so that it gets overly puzzly or you get completely hosed because of a weird oversight.
It's true. And we've unfortunately found almost every game fell into the same sort of path where early on in your turn, you send out a worker to search out one of these sites and figure out what guardian is there, and then spend the rest of the turn trying to make sure you get the resources that you can defeat that guardian. Therefore, you won't get the fear card. And then at the same time, you're also gathering these resources to get up this track.
Yeah, the space of the game isn't broad enough to allow you to specialize or do something radically different from anywhere else. You're going to get your points from a smattering of sources, but indeed, the big ticket item appears to be the research track. And as a result, although it was perfectly pleasant, perfectly enjoyable, and readily accessible, and very, very attractive, every game felt more or less the same. And that's one of the reasons why I never really felt the pull to come back.
It's true. Even though both sides of the board are different, every single card in the deck is different. It's not like other deck builders where you have like stacks of all the cards are the same. Every single card in the deck is the same in both decks. There's a whole deck of items, there's a whole deck of artifacts, and each one is different. Unfortunately, it always seemed to be the same sort of thing. You are looking for card draw in the item deck, and it slowly gets, well, the cool part is that it slowly gets smaller as you less and less need items in your deck, because near the end your engine is pretty well going. And then artifacts are pretty well, you're looking for those compasses right off the beginning. So unfortunately, the deck building is there, and it's interesting on how the turn mechanism works. As you get more artifacts and less items, I liked how that worked, but it seems as though you always, wanted the same things in your deck.
Unfortunately, what I wanted out of the game was slightly more dynamism interaction between the deck building element and the worker placement element. Overwhelmingly, when there was interaction, it was mostly just that you were discarding a card to pay for one of the costs associated with your worker placement action. Either ditching it because it gives you gold and you needed the gold, or ditching it for one of the travel icons. There are a couple of cards with interesting effects where they genuinely interact with how you're placing workers, and those were my favorite. I just wish more of the game had been pitched towards that.
I agree. I love how everything looks. The art is amazing. Like we said, it has that Hyperborea art that's like amazing. You can almost play it that I killed the coolest guardians, therefore I win, because all the guardians are very unique. It's not like the generic, grizzly bear or King Kong or giant lizard. There's all sorts of very unique monsters, or guardians as they say in there. Other than that, like you said, it's very inoffensive, but I loved lots of bits on how they all work together. The fact that there's the magnifying glass and the books and how they gave you different things, so there was different sort of emphasis on what you wanted to move up, and even though you definitely want your magnifying glass at the top, there was definitely benefits to moving your notebook up as well.
I feel that this game is kind of pitched at an awkward level, at least for our tastes. It's a little too complicated to be a genuine intro game, despite the fact that the theme is very accessible and everything's very bright and colorful. But at the same token, there's not enough to keep me coming back after several plays having seen it. In many ways, I think that this suffers badly in comparison to even other games with a similar theme, like the Quest for El Dorado, which for my money does deck building with board presence a little bit better. There are other games that do very interesting things with deck building in that vein, like the obscure Asgard's Chosen, with a slightly more mainstream Mage Knight. For people like us who churn through games at a pretty fast rate, this was good for a handful of plays, and after that it's on to the next thing. So it's not a perennial keeper, it's not a really good gateway game, and as a result I enjoyed my time with it, but I think we're pretty much done.
True, and the one thing that might stop beginners into it is the fact that in normal worker placement, it usually takes a worker to do everything that you need to do. In this one, it's varied, right? Some cards are actions, some workers are actions, some moving up the discovery is a different action. So the fact that there's so many different things you can do with actions, it might lead to a little bit of confusion, in my opinion.
So I enjoyed it. Don't regret my time with it, but
it doesn't fill the hole, I think, that we're looking for. That's for sure.
The deep yawning hole in our souls.
That's right.
The deep yawning chasm of our loneliness.
And that is the Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Just want to acknowledge in full disclosure that this is a complimentary review copy provided by CGE.